everyone, it's Lel, and in this video we are going to talk about the amazing episode 17 from Delicious Party PreCure. What an episode. And before I start talking about the events of the episode itself, which were very interesting, let's talk about some particularities, some more technicalities that I found very interesting. One of them is the soundtrack, Shiho Terada blowing it out of the water once more. There was a lot of drama in this episode, and I feel like the soundtrack really helped enhance it all. And another thing that I noticed is that in general, Delicious Party PreCure isn't a very colorful series. I mean, the colors are very bright and vivid, but we don't have many colors in one scene. This episode was a little different. The scenes were very colorful, the backgrounds were a little bit more colorful than usual, and I feel like it plays a lot on the fact that we are going to have a cure that is debuting next episode that is very colorful. So this helps create the imagery that she is going to bring to the show. She's going to bring a little bit more color than the other girls, and they are creating this on the environment of the episode as well. Gorgeous job they did. So this episode brought some interesting concepts for us, and the first one, let's talk about Amane first. We don't know much about Amane, but we knew Gentlu when she was brainwashed. Even when Gentlu was brainwashed, Gentlu as a villain tried to be the correct type of villain. She had a mission to fulfill, but she did it with grace, with elegance, and without violence. So she was very serious in what she did, and she tried not to hurt people in the process. In this episode, right at the start, we get a glimpse of two different Amane scenes. One of them was when Amane was a little child. She saw a Parfait recipe in the Kasai Fruits Parlor, and she was friends with this recipe. And she specifically gave her pinky finger to it, which means a promise. So I don't know if they made a promise particularly at that moment, but it feels like something important went down with that Parfait recipe and Amane when she was a young child. We see her a little older training with one of her brothers, and I love that scene. It really reminded me of Iona, my favorite from Happiness Charge PreCure, Cure Fortune. She also did martial arts. I don't know what martial arts Amane was doing in this episode particularly, but Iona also did it. Iona was also a mid-season cure. She was also purple. Even though I don't know if Cure Finale can be considered purple, I love this discussion. And I also loved her hair at that moment. It reminded me a little bit of Sasorina from Heart Catch, and it was great. But what really mattered was she was training and she was having a hard time, and then even when she was having a hard time and she was tired, she was like, no, I still have it in me, I still have it in my heart, I have to keep pushing forward. So she is a driven person. She is someone who takes things seriously. She is someone who is always putting her heart in front of her actions and kind of like let the heart lead the way. And this is very important because we barely know Amane. And with those two little scenes, we have a lot of information of who she is. And that is a very nice way of doing storytelling when you don't have a lot of room and a lot of time to work with a character. I mean, she is already going to become a cure next episode. We saw that in the preview. So they don't have much room to work with her. And another important thing was the birth of a heart crystal, or a crystal in the shape of a heart. Right at the start of the episode, we see that happening in the Cookingdom. And it's interesting, when I was talking about colors, Cookingdom is also very colorful when we see it from afar. Very colorful. And what we see in that room is we see like 3 pillars. Each pillar has the color of a cure. So we have a pink pillar, we have a blue, and a yellow pillar. And it's interesting because the blue pillar has circles in it. Spicy has circle as a symbol. The yellow one has lines in it, so Yum Yum has lines. And the pink one has triangles. It's not actually triangles, it's a four-shaped shape, a four-pointed shape, but it's representative of Pure Precious. And the other one is a purple one, and it has no shapes. And what we learn in this episode is that the energy fairies were born in those pillars. And we also learned, not in this episode, in previous episodes of Delicious, that there is a concept called Hoka Hoka Hearts, which means that emotion you feel when you eat something delicious that fills you with happiness. That is the Hoka Hoka Heart concept. And when there's a lot of Hoka Hoka Hearts, something is created. This is probably how the energy fairies were born in Kingdom, and then they came to Earth so that the delicious party girls started and became cures. In this episode, it's the same thing, but this time an energy fairy isn't created. Actually, it's a crystal in the shape of a heart that is sent to the Earth, to Rosemary, and so the story of the episode starts. Interesting thing about this, another interesting thing to point out, the three pillars representative of the three girls from Delicious, the pillar of the pink shapes is a little different. It has some sort of ornaments. So we know Kome is a different energy fairy. It's different than Pom Pom and Men Men, and it's special somehow. So this only enhances the fact that Kome was born from something different and special. What is it? We have no idea. My theory, it's Yui's grandmother's energy there somehow, kind of like a resurrection, kind of like her energy. I don't know, but it's related to Yui's grandmother. This is a theory, baby. Don't take it seriously for now. But anyways, love the whole thing about the episode. I love that Rosemary leads the way. I love Mari-chan. Mari is amazing. You all know how much I love them. And it's gorgeous that they're the ones to keep the heart crystal. And then we have the Parfait SCPP appearing. It's very funny the way Yum Yum or Dan talks about how special a Parfait can be. And because of lots of different things that you can put on a Parfait. So it's kind of like a rich type of finale. And I really like it. And I also liked this Parfait's personality. Girl, it's like, are you stealing Pom Pom's initial personality? Where is Pom Pom's princess personality? Where is it? I hate that they completely forgot this about Pom Pom. But it was very funny seeing Pom Pom and Men trying to understand what they were trying to say. So, very nice. And then we get to Amane. Amane is back to school. The girls see how popular she is. And she thanks the girls for what she did. And it was very funny because when she thanked the girls and she bowed down, Kokone was the first one to say, no, you don't need to do that. We were just, we were doing our thing. And Kokone seemed moved by that. So Kokone was reacting, I felt like Kokone was the one that reacted the most to it. So it's a very interesting observation. I don't know if that's going to play out in Kokone's and Amane's relationship in the future. I hope it does, because Kokone is my fave, and I'm really loving Amane. And I forgot to say, Kaya no Ai, Amane's voice actor, is doing God's work in her voice acting. She sounds completely different than Gentleman. Girl, I love it. And then the girls end up going to the fruits parlor, and when they get there, it's we have a scene, and I'm going to mention my own review of the last episode, episode 16, which I said I didn't like very much because we had an excessive focus on a secondary character that I feel like didn't play much into the whole episode, into Run's growth and such. And this episode, we had a secondary character who was called Moe, and I feel like everything that was told about her was very important. So, very important for Amane. And this is a big difference, and that is why I loved this episode, and it's why I didn't really like last week's episode. The first thing, Amane wants to resign as the student council president, and the girl doesn't want her to resign. And so she shares with her something that Amane did that helped her immensely in her life. So we see the whole process, and it was very nice. What Amane said was nice. Amane wasn't even knowing that she was saying something that would give her this lucidity and change her life completely and change her ability of playing in front of everybody. Amane started noticing that she has a good heart and she can help people, but at the same time she was suffering. And then we start seeing how this suffering is impacting her. Because of everything she did as Gentlu, she sees herself now as a horrible person. And even with the girl saying that she is someone who helped her, even without knowing, she cannot see herself this way because she still carries the burden of the things she did as Gentlu. And we have a nice scene with her brothers, and then the girls arriving, and the Parfait SCPP getting very disappointed by Amane not recognizing it. We have Pum Pum not wanting to address it anymore, not wanting to translate it anymore. Girl, pay Pum Pum, okay? Give her her payment. The Parfait SCPP needs to give her lots of parfaits because she needs to be paid for all the translations, and Men too. And then the crystal ends up in Amane's hands, and everything starts moving forward, and Narcisoru attacks at the same time. So in Narcisoru's side, in the villain side, we have Narcisoru trying to come up with new concepts because he needs to be more serious in the things that he needs to do. And that is what he does in this episode, which is nice. I feel like the girls are already struggling in fights, but we need some sort of power-up for two reasons. We have a new cure joining, and we also have black pepper. Where will you fit those if the enemies don't get stronger? So that's what he was trying to do. He tried to do it, and it's like an experiment. When they create a Moto Ubaozo, they use some sort of cooking item, object. In this episode, he tried fusing two of them. He tried using two of them together. And then we have Amane left with her heart crystal, and Mari giving it to her. And then we have the fighting scene and also the fighting scene was introduced by Takumi this time around. Like the narrative used Takumi to introduce the fighting scene, which is interesting. And then we see the girls going, transforming, and the fight started. Look, I am one to complain about the delicious fights. This one, I feel like it was a little better. There was a little scene with Spicy and Precious jumping together to punch the Moto Ubaozo. The scene wasn't like the best animation ever, and the punch did not work, but this is something that we want to see more in delicious fights. It had a lot in the beginning. Now they kind of they forgot about it. That's something I really wanted to see more, and I really hope they can keep on doing it in the next few fights. Well, I feel like whenever the mid-season cure arrives, the fights get a little better, so I hope that they can keep on improving. But the whole thing is weird because like they had a little setback with the against the Moto Ubaozo, and then they sit down and they're like, oh my god, we can't do anything anymore. And then Black Pepper arrives. Black Pepper's arrival, Black Pepper's participation in this fight was actually good. Black Pepper arrived, and then it couldn't do much, and then it ended up being saved by Cure Precious. I like that. I can live with that. And it was very funny. Takumi was gonna say thank you as he does as Takumi, but he can't. And so he changed the way of saying like arigato. It was very nice. And I like because, as I said, the girls aren't strong enough. The cures in this season are not very strong. I thought they were going to be stronger at the start of the season, but right now, let's just say it, they're not very strong at all. But they, like fighting and Black Pepper helping, they were able to create some sort of dynamic. It was nice, seeing the technique being done in front of them, and obviously Rosemary having an impact by creating a technique for the fight, even though it was very simple. It was okay, it was okay, and they were able to defeat it, and it was very funny because Takumi was like, oh, I was shopping, I have to go, and he just went away, and the girls weren't even caring about Black Pepper there at that moment. They just cared about him after he went away. But the thing was all about Amane. They were worried about Amane, and Rosemary didn't share with them what that heart crystal was. Not only with them, but also with Amane in the last scene of the episode, which was very nice. That scene was heartbreaking. It was intense. It was very, very well done. I loved it. Incredible. The way Amane pushed it back and said, I can't do it. It's so understandable. You don't need to go that deep into Amane and understand why she is feeling like that. Everything she did as Gentlu. And you can say, well, you were brainwashed. You were not seeing anything. Well, yes, but no at the same time, because you can still blame yourself, even if it's not your fault. We, as humans, do it all the time. Sometimes we do things with no intention, and it ends up having a reverse effect of what we thought it would. Or sometimes we don't do things and things happen and we still think it's our fault and we still blame ourselves and we still think that we are horrible people. And it works very well for her because of what was built for who Amane is. So it makes sense for her to feel this way. So I love it. And she gave it back, and at the end the crystal, heart crystal, even turned like black. Girls, so dramatic. Love it. And next week is the birth of Finale. And there was an interesting moment of Narcistoru, because Narcistoru noticed that there was a SCPP close to where they were at the end of the fight. And he's like, okay. So it's probably Amane. It's probably Amane's SCPP, because he can't see them, but he can pinpoint where they are in his little radar. So that's what he's going to do. And I think that that's what he's going to do next episode. He's going to attack the Parfait SCPP. And Amane will feel the need of protecting that SCPP. This is my theory, okay? This is how I'm feeling about it. I am excited. Very, very excited. Next week, Parfait. Not Parfait. Where's Parfait? Here. She's going to have a little friend to stay with her. Cure Finale is joining the Delicious Party team. Honey, I am very, very excited. How did you feel about episode 17 from Delicious? Are you excited for next week? If you are, please leave a comment. Let's hype ourselves up. 1 week away, babies. Yes. Anyways, thank you for watching, and a special thank you to the members of the Magical Cinnamon channel. If you are a member, thank you very, very much for your support. It means the world. And if you've watched up to now, thank you so much as well. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye-bye.